In terms of our workforce composition, at this point, nearly 3/4 of our civilian workforce is comprised of women. That's largely unchanged from last year's results. Racialized persons make up 13.4% of the population, which is up from the prior year. And persons with disabilities and Aboriginal persons stand at 3% and 1% respectively, again, which is unchanged from the year previous. In terms of areas that we want to look at further in reviewing the statistics, what we do note is there's a discrepancy that exists between the number of temporary and the number of full-time applicants in those categories that are hired. And that outlines one of the areas we're going to be exploring in 2009 is to better understand and address why the high proportion of racialized persons within the temporary population is being less successful in securing full-time employment. But that is an area that's highlighted in the results and one that we're going to turn our minds to. And I'll turn it over to Inspector White.
Good morning. In an ongoing effort as well to improve the recruitment and retention of uniform officers, there have been a number of positive measure initiatives that have been implemented in 2008. Some of those include the creation of a learning and development unit within the Human Resource Bureau. We also have the Organizational Wellness Bureau. We have new uniforms. We have created the risk management unit. There's a fitness unit that's part of that as well. And we have conducted some middle management seminars as well to educate and inform our managers on best practices. What we also did was develop the corporate communication, which has improved in a number of regards, furthered our strategic goals, such as communication and collaboration. And a lot of these as well have contributed to the growth that we've anticipated and we see happening right now within our recruitment. The Recruiting Bureau itself is comprised of half diverse officers. As Mr. Bowman mentioned, we changed the physical testing as well to make sure it's more defensible, it's a more reliable test of an applicant's ability to perform police duties. Our advertising has included feedback and input from Public Affairs and Neighborhood Policing Unit and the Diversity Relations Bureau to ensure that we are, in fact, appealing to diverse members of the community and encouraging them to apply for positions in policing. The cadet program that we have going now has proven itself to be valuable both in connecting with the youth in the community, but also in providing us with a very valuable recruitment pool for recruit constables. And in fact, 14 of the 25 cadets in 2008 were successful in the recruit constable process. Our civilian outreach continues to accompany our uniform outreach, so we are reaching out to those civilian members of the community, not just the uniform, to ensure participation in applying for positions within the organization. The Learning and Development Unit will begin in September with a supervisory training program that will, in fact, speak to and help civilian members of the organization to develop their management skills and provide them with information they need to further enhance their management abilities. And finally, the barrier elimination results. What we do is we conduct civilian orientation programs to ensure that our civilians are presented with managing diversity information, hate crime information, and racial profiling information. We continue to, and will continue in 2009, to ensure that we are connecting with organizations within the region to ensure that people with disabilities are included in our recruitment process. This includes Access Ontario and we are collaborating with Join, which is another organization, to assist us in reaching out to those disabled persons in the community. Finally, the Organizational Wellness Bureau has provided our members with a resource to assist them with ongoing family issues or any other issues that they're dealing with, to help them find resources they may need to improve their family life and thereby improve their work performance as well. Shirley, you want to summarize the...
Just to summarize the report, Chair, the highlights really are that a 26% increase in the number of uniform applications, 38% increase in the number of persons that we've had attend for testing, a 100% increase in the number of females that were successful in the promotional process last year, 82% increase in the number of racialized persons promoted, increases in the analytical test pass rates, the overall pass rates for uniform applicants, and a 3.6% increase in the number of racialized persons hired for uniform positions, and increases similarly in the number of civilian promotions for females. Those, Chair, members of the board, are really the highlights of the report. We'll be pleased to respond to any questions.
Do you have any questions?
Through you, Chair, first of all, I'd like to compliment the Office of this report. I think this is a very comprehensive report, a significant improvement on the report that I saw from last year in terms of its broad nature of the stats that have been represented. It makes me lament the fact that I didn't take a stats course in undergrad and focus on those philosophy courses. Now, I guess the key questions in my mind are, how do you measure success? We're here next year, how will you say to us that we've had a successful year in terms of equal opportunity, an equal opportunity plan? That's question number one. And secondly, and I commend you for doing this, you recognize some barriers to recruitment, the analytical reasoning barrier, for example. That's an important kind of indication that the services and the board is thoroughly thinking through how to improve the testing, the recruitment process. What other barriers do you think have to be significantly addressed? So the first question is in terms of establishing milestones, and the second question is with respect to identifying barriers.
If I can, Mr. Gossel, I think there's really two steps to that. The target that Inspector White and I have talked about really is in terms of hiring, the hiring rate of racialized persons and women, and trying to get that figure proportionately to approach ultimately what our community representation is. On the female side, we're getting relatively close to that. Our hiring rate for women overall last year was 17.6%, I believe, from the report. That is in excess of the provincial average for women in police forces. If we can continue that trend, ultimately that's going to improve the composition of our workforce overall. So the first goal really is in our hiring process to try to increase the number of racialized persons and females in our hiring processes. If we can do that consistently, then the second phase really is to approach a point where we are representative of the community by virtue of the composition of our workforce, where we do have a workforce that is approaching 50% of racialized persons. And we continue to try to develop strategies to improve the number of applications we get from those communities with that goal.
And within the organization, we have asked diverse members of the organization to become mentors themselves. We also encourage all members to become recruiting officers and appeal to members of the community as well to be spokespeople for a career in policing. And we find the more recruiters we have out there, reaches more people.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? If not, I do want to thank you for all the work, both of you, for all the work that's gone into this. I know the chief has talked a lot to the board about this, and I think it's an excellent report. And I congratulate you for the work that has gone into it. As we've talked among ourselves many times, as the board, it's a continued effort to make these goals and reach these goals, and I think it will be for a long time. If if you don't keep working at it, you don't have any results, so it's good. Could I have a motion to receive the presentation? All those in favor then? Carried. Thank you very much. Can I have somebody to remove